Welcome to GCCars. My name is Eric, and today we got the 2020 Infiniti QX50. The QX50 is arguably Infiniti's most important vehicle right now. It's in the hottest segment in the automotive industry, the compact SUV segment, this one obviously being the luxury compact SUV segment. And there's about a dozen or more competitors to this. We got the BMW X3, Audi Q5, Lincoln Corsa, Volvo XC60, I could go on and on and on. There's so many good vehicles. So it was really important for Infiniti to get this one right. And to stand out in this crowded segment, Infiniti gave the QX50 some really clever and innovative engine tech. Its 2-liter 4-cylinder has a variable compression ratio, hence the name VC Turbo. And aside from sounding great as a sales pitch to customers, of which probably 90% have absolutely no clue what variable compression ratio means, it can also have some real-world benefits, with can being the important word in this. And thanks to Infiniti Downtown, I was able to spend this beautiful Canadian fall day with this QX50. Infiniti Downtown is my local Infiniti dealership here in Toronto. They're located right in the heart of downtown Toronto and have a great sales team and great inventory. So make sure to check out their website in the link in the description below. On to the review. And as always, let's start off with the exterior. Obviously, styling and design choices are always very subjective, so I can only tell you what I think. You gotta make up your own mind. But personally, I really do like the look of the QX50. I think its design is pretty elegant while also looking muscular enough to stand out of the crowd of same looking compact SUVs you find everywhere on the road these days. What also helps it stand out is the dynamic sunstone red color, which makes it pop just a little more. But that's a $1,200 option, so you might be better off going with a cheaper option if you don't want to spend just as much. I think it also looks very good in white, which just costs a little less money. And for the interior. When I first stepped in a couple hours ago, I was pleasantly surprised by how nice it is. Not because I didn't expect it to be nice, but it's just, you know, you kind of switch around cars when you're doing this automotive journalism stuff. So occasionally you come from a different car into a luxury car and you're like, yeah, this is nice. And this is definitely a very nice interior. You got, first of all, it feels very open, especially with the sunroof we have up here. So we have a lot of natural light coming in. Then the material selection is just wonderful. So we got the beautiful suede-ish leather. Then we have normal leather. I don't know how it's called. Sorry. I'm an immigrant, all right? And then we have our wood up here and metal surroundings and stitching, double stitching everywhere. It just looks very nice. Honestly, it's a really good-looking interior, and I'm certainly liking it. Also, then the whole design just looks very nice with that center console just kind of opening up. So we have our storage here, which is nice and big, and then just kind of makes way for the controls. It's really nice. The steering wheel feels good size. It's a little slippery. I don't know, it might just be the day that my hands are a little cold and dry, but I have like zero grip on this steering wheel. I really need to grip it tight for me to be able to feel confident in it. But it's fine. It's not a big problem. The only real issue I have with the interior is the infotainment system. Every reviewer will tell you this, because the infotainment system it's just outdated, which is funny because it's a big contrast to the engine. You know, it's just kind of like state-of-the-art tech in the engine, and you get this outdated dual screen infotainment system. So we get two screens, then we get another screen in the gauge cluster, and it's just, you notice that it's old. It's just not as, it doesn't look as good. It's kind of confusing to operate. Of course, if you buy the car, you'll get used to how it operates. It's not the biggest issue. It's just the visual appearance of it is a little. And then maybe the controls for the climates. Luckily, the climate controls are all physical buttons, so that's no issue. They are plastic buttons, so it doesn't look that great. The thing is, you have the choice, right? You can go for piano black buttons, which look a lot nicer, but then everybody will be saying, rightfully so, that they will be dirty in no time. So the only real alternative would probably be like metal switches, but they would be a lot more expensive, so it's okay. But yeah, in general, I'm very happy with it. The Bose sound system is very good we have in here. I've just quickly listened to some music that I try all these sound systems on, and it sounded very good. We got good bass to it, not overblown though, and a lot of clarity in it, so I was very happy with that as well. And yeah, honestly, it's a very pleasant interior. We also have a nice head-up display. It's bright enough that you can see it all, and it's also big enough that it's easy to spot, so you don't always have to look down on your gauges. And yeah, I'm very happy in the front seat. Let's hop in the back seat because there's a couple of cool features down there. And now inside of the back of the Infiniti QX50, what you first off notice, there's tons of legroom, like tons of legroom. It's incredible. To be fair, I am not the tallest. I'm 5'7", but still, there's a lot of legroom right here. The material choices are the same as we have in the front, so it looks really nice and feels well. We have some pass-on blockers if we want to use them. I'm just incapable of using them apparently. No, so sunshades are on both sides as well. And the cool thing about this here is that we can not only recline, so we can fully recline, and this obviously also puts it down. And we can recline both sides. We can also slide forward and backward. So if you want to have a bit more cargo space, just slide the seats forward a little. I would have still have enough room, and it's great. It's really nice, and you can actually lie pretty flat. It's really nice. Well, not flat, but still. This is pretty good for a back row, honestly. I really like it. Like if you often carry passengers around or maybe have a family, really nice. The only thing here is that our leg room is, well, the leg room is great, but the foot room is a little tight, depending on the seat. Like I can just about squeeze my feet beneath the front seat here. But I know, especially on the passenger side, I wasn't able to do that. Yeah, on the passenger side, I kind of get squeezed down there. So that might be the only thing that people with very large feet could have a little issue, but the legroom is fine, so you can just spread out a little, right? So that's fine. Yeah, let's take a look at the trunk. All right, the weather's getting better and better. But first of all, I want to mention, thank you, Infiniti, for apparently being the only ones who are able to do this kick open your trunk motion thingy correctly. It worked 100% of the time. Like, I've never seen that before. Every single car I've been in that had these automatic opening trunks where you can just kick under there, it worked about like, the Trailblazer was good. It worked like 75% of the time. This is 100%. Thank you, Infiniti. Anyhow, trunk space, pretty good. We got more than the X3 got, so it's class competitive, let's say it like that. If we still need more room, we obviously can just put down our second row pretty easily. Then we got more room. We also have a nice divider here if you want a little more privacy, so nobody can look into your trunk, right, when you park. And we have a 12-volt outlet right here, so we can power things if we need to. We have a little more storage underneath. Perfect if you want to have maybe store something more valuable. So not everybody will instantly look there. And also, we have one little hanger here, which you can definitely use a grocery bag hanger. Super useful. Please, auto manufacturers, put grocery bag hangers in, because if we're transporting beer or whatever, we don't want to have it flying around. So you can put it in there. Good job. You can put it down here, and it won't move. So yeah, very happy. Without further ado, let's drive. All right, here we go. Sitting off in the Infiniti QX50. Remember, I've had this car for 5 hours, unlike the days or sometimes a week that I normally have a car. So I might not be able to fully be able to tell you everything, but I've read up on a lot of stuff. I've looked at other reviews, and I'm basically just seeing, okay, what has changed since the first model year of this version of the QX50 and so on. And yeah, first of all, let's talk about the driving itself, right? First thing, while we're going out of the parking lot here, the steering, it's super light, but because it's electronic, they didn't bother really trying to make you feel anything, which is not a problem. It's a luxury car. I don't mind that. The issue I have is, though, that sometimes, especially like around bends like these, where I'm trying to go around a long corner, I feel like I have to turn the wheel more than I need to. So I'm, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I got to turn this far, and then suddenly I have to go another 20 degrees, and it's just kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that I need to get used to, so if I would have the car for like a week more, it would be fine, but it kind of feels like, you know, in every car you would need to turn this much, and this one you just need to turn a little further often, which is not really that confidence inspiring. But many people, I've seen many reviewers complain about the engine together with the transmission. We got a CVT in here. You know, many of them said that the power delivery is spiky or surges a lot, so you get power and then you don't have power, you get power and you don't have power, even though you're just constantly having like giving the same input on the pedal. I've not felt anything alike yet. I wasn't able to drive it on the highway. Maybe it's there, but they said even in the city you can't really drive it smooth, and I cannot confirm that. So maybe they fix it for this model year. Driving, honestly, felt fine. I'm actually really happy with how it drives. The pedal feel is good. The power is definitely sufficient. And the only thing is the eco mode is, I'm sorry, horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. It feels like somebody put like a squishy ball right behind your gas pedal and just kind of keeps squishing that, and it feels so awkward. And suddenly, and like around the middle, you have to push really hard to then not push as hard again. It's so non-linear and doesn't feel good. I see what they would try to do. They kind of try to disencourage, you know, driving fast in the eco mode. I get that, but I've seen way better implementations of that by just playing around with the throttle response and so on. So this is just the eco mode. But I mean, you don't need to use it. You can save gas in the normal mode too, so you don't really need the eco mode. The sport mode though feels a lot better. I'm not quite sure if there's pumped-in audio. It kind of feels a little like there is. But the CVT stays in higher rev, so it pretends to be a gear low. It doesn't have gears, it's a CVT, but it pretends to be in a lower gear. And it gives you a lot of power pretty quick. The response is pretty good. I'm going to turn around here in a second so we can actually see the power this car has. So this is CVT, so it doesn't shift gears. So the first faked shift was a little sluggish and kind of felt weird. Yeah, the ones after were good though. But yeah, honestly, it drives really well. I'm happy with it. Coming around, like the infotainment again, like I said, the infotainment it's probably the number one complaint I have about this car is the infotainment. It's just not really attractive to look at. It's kind of confusing to use, and like the right-hand buttons on my screen, my steering wheel control the middle screen, so the one in the gauges, and my left-hand controls control the screen on my right. It's just counterintuitive, so I don't really, and I feel like, again, 5 hours. Maybe if I get more time, I'll figure it out. Probably I would, but it's just really, I don't really know where to find stuff here, which normally is not a problem because most cars are really intuitively laid out, most infotainment. So that's like the biggest negative in this car. Also, the engine isn't as quiet sometimes as you might have expected. It's not loud by any means. It's a little unsettling sometimes because it's a rougher sound because it's a 4-cylinder, right? It's still a 4-cylinder, so it doesn't sound as smooth as maybe like a V6 or anything. So yeah, it sounds a bit more raspy if you go for it, but hey, don't go for it. You don't have the problem, right? Yeah, just going back to how does it feel to drive aside from powertrain and transmission and so on. Honestly, I like the admittedly few kilometers that I've driven. It drives very nicely. The interior, the cabin itself feels very spacious. You feel like you're in a good space. It's comfortable. So I did like it. I really did like it a lot. But let's just come to a conclusion here. I'll be honest, I was a little worried. Not necessarily about this car in particular, but for Infiniti and Nissan, which Infinitis are based on, in general, because the last year has been pretty turbulent for the company. The cars started to age a lot and everything was starting to be really outdated, and they just weren't competitive anymore and was heading in a very bad direction. But ever since they had the management shakeup and putting out a few new products, they've actually really did a 180. They've turned around. It's way better. The products are good. This is still a product that is
I would say at the start of the turnaround. So maybe even newer models will be even better. But this, honestly, it's fine. Like if you can look over an infotainment that might not be 100% perfect and not having the quietest and both nitpicky things to criticize, to be honest. I mean, you can use even Android Auto, Apple CarPlay if you want. They come standard now. So if you don't want to deal with the regular infotainment, you don't have to even. And yeah, if you can look beyond that, then you're gonna have a good time. You got so many competitors, and I always say, if you spend $50,000, $60,000 on a car or whatever, any amount on a car, you better buy something you love. You better get some emotion in there, and you know, there's not always objectively like the number one car. So if you like the styling of the Infiniti and the interiors are lovely, I would say go give it a shot. Go on a test drive, look around. Definitely take more on a test drive than just one car. Don't just settle on like one car. Drive it and be like, all right, I'll have it. There's so many competitors. Just drive a lot of them, as many as you can maybe, or as many as you're interested in. But Infiniti has a very, very good entry in the luxury compact SUV segment, in my opinion, and I was very pleasantly surprised by how good this car drives. I'd love to at some point be able to go a bit more in depth, maybe get it for a full week from Infiniti directly as a press loaner. But honestly, I've enjoyed the Q5, the weird steering wheel. I have to go full 180 on the wheel. So we can see it's a good car. It's a good SUV. I like it. It looks amazing. I think it's probably the best looking compact SUV there is, or at least one of the best looking up there. And yeah, as always, if you like the video, I would love if you could maybe subscribe if you want to see more, give it a like, leave a comment down below if you think I can do anything better, if you have an opinion about this car. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. See you in the next one. Bye.
The QX50 is arguably Infiniti's most important vehicle. It is in one of the hottest segments in all of the automotive... Nope. It's in the hottest segment right now in the automotive industry. It's the luxury compact SUV. And there's about a dozen competitors. Wow. Okay, relax. Just to press this. Oh my god.